Blake, how'd you guys meet, you and Whit?
Oh, boy.
We were both getting surgeries.
I get to the surgical center, and the lady's like, hey, just throw this shirt on and leave your underwear on because there's no pants or anything allowed. And I'm like, all right. So I literally have to rock this gown. I'm so tall, it's not long enough. So I'm like trying to pull it, and Blake walks in the room, and I'm like, how you doing, man? Like, super awkward. This young lady's shaving my leg. I'm like, this is the most awkward day of my life. I just met Blake Griffin. I don't have drawers on, and I'm about to have surgery. I don't know what's happening, but it was a bad one.
Welcome back, Beardos, to another episode of Fitz and Whit. I'm the Fitz half of the equation. That man to my left is Whit. Yes, Super Bowl champion Andrew Whitworth.
Oh, Lord. Are we making Beardos a thing? Like, it's an actual thing now, huh?
I don't know. I mean, Sam brought it in. You know, our colleague from Amazon. He came in. You know, Mr. Analytics.
He's
Mr.
just trying to build off
the
dynamic kickoff. He's going dynamic kickoff. Now I'm going to rename the Fitz and Whit podcast. I love it. The Beardos.
Yeah. He's on a real roll, but I think we're just going to obviously allow the fans to decide. It's either going to stick or it's not. I don't have high hopes about it, but I'm going to continue throwing in subtle references to Beardos, and we'll just see where it goes.
But we're going to have to make it stick, because if we do that, Fitz, I'm never going to get to trim the beard all the way down. I definitely can't dye it, so I'm going to have to leave the beard. So we're going to be stuck with beards forever.
My four daughters would love that, because anytime I even talk about trimming my beard, they're so afraid to see what's under the hair. And so am I. So I won't be trimming my beard anytime soon. I know you won't either. Coming up on today's show, we have a great one for you. Whit strikes again. He brings in another friend, another special guest. And although I had a great dinner with this guy in Vegas without Whit, we went to Carbone, was with his brother Taylor.
Are you going to try to claim him or something here? Is this what you're about to do?
I think we're giving you credit because you've known the guy longer than I have.
Fair.
But today, Whit, as if it's a mystery to you, the former number one overall pick, 14 seasons in the NBA, your buddy Blake Griffin.
Blakey's coming on. Look, me and Blake go all the way back to the 2019-20 season when I had surgery. He's a very interesting player. Not only was he a dominant basketball player, Fitz, but I think what makes him so unique, I'm so excited to have him on, is there's so much more to the guy. I mean, he's into comedy. He's got his own production company. He's invested in all kinds of things. I'm really excited for him. And he's also our newest teammate, man. When you talk about curiosity, this dude's curious about a lot of things. And one of them is he's going to go right from retirement straight back into being involved with the game just like us. So I'm excited to talk to Blake, see what's going on.
Yeah, when I got to spend a little time with him in Vegas, dude that totally lights up the room. Like, he's funny, he's so sharp, and he's really impressive too. He loves basketball.
I think he'll have similar humor.
Yeah, that's why I think he's so funny, I think. I mean, he was just cracking me up. So I see a lot of myself in him. You know, I dunked in high school as well.
Did you?
I did once in a game. I think
like
I traveled. I did like the white guy, you know, grab the ball, take 3 steps, but they didn't call the travel. It counted. The video's been lost, but I have dunked once in my life, much like Blake. Speaking of basketball, got to hang out with Rip Hamilton this weekend in Augusta. Dude, he is one of the best humans on earth. And so I asked him, what can I ask Blake? And got some good info there that we'll get that story coming up later. And just my week at the Masters, man, just fill you in a little bit. Rory, that was an amazing Sunday. It was so much fun. People are saying top 5 Masters of all time. I was there, Andrew. It was a great time. And then I'm going to make my biggest ever contribution to society. I've got a surefire plan that you're going to help me with, and having an epic boys weekend like I did at the Masters without screwing up your marriage.
You know what? I've got a little experience with that too, Fitz.
You sure do.
2 out of the last 3 weekends, I've been on a golf trip. So I got a lot of things that I got to work out at home and make sure I'm doing right. But first, you know, let's talk a little bit about Masters Week. You know, the curious case of Rory McIlroy. In his 17th Masters tournament, Rory completes the Grand Slam. He'd had 3 of the 4 majors for almost 11 years now. You know, the British Open, the PGA, the Open Championship, as they call it, and the U.S. Open. He needed this Masters to complete it. And I felt like even though he misses this putt on 18 and all of this, like I'm sitting with a group of guys that are like, oh man, he's choking again. Like it's nothing but grief and negative stuff around this shot that was hit way back when, because the reality of this guy is he's been an unbelievable golfer for a really long time. He's very highly accomplished. And this moment that happened when he, lost the Masters with this one shot has kind of been something that's just gone with him through his whole career. And he needed this to win this Masters, but I also think he needed it for himself. And you see that putt go in and the emotion that just was real. Like, man, that is not just, to me, that's not just happiness. That is, man, expectations and things that you had of yourself and probably the things you've heard about yourself over time.
Yeah. And it was a weird feeling for me because I wanted Justin Rose to win just with the way that he played on Sunday. And
that was awesome.
And then it was like when Rory missed that putt, well, when he hit the shot on 18 from 125 out into the bunker, and then when he misses the putt and they end up going to the extra playoff hole, then I wanted Rory to win. It was like you saw the failure, you saw the emotion. I was really nervous when he was walking down 18, chewing whatever he was eating a sandwich. It was like, you can wait. You can wait 5 minutes. Just wait 5 minutes to finish your round. You don't need to eat. That made me nervous. But once he had that moment of failure and letdown, then it was like it totally shifted in my mind. I wanted him to win. I wanted him to overcome. Amazingly, he had the same shot on the playoff hole from 125 out. And Justin Rose, by the way, that ball almost hit the stick when he hit it, which was super cool. But, for me, being at the Masters, the crazy things, you've heard a lot about the no cell phone policy. There's a lack of information when you're there. And being there, being fortunate to be there as much as I have, sitting on the back, we call it the second nine, not the back nine. Sitting on the second nine on a Sunday, you start to recognize what the roars are. And I was teaching this to my son, Brady. Direction is a big thing. The length of the roar is a big thing. And then, of course, like if you're a fan favorite or not, the roar gets amplified. And it's so cool just to sit there and discuss. But you miss a lot of the stuff. So you as a viewer on TV, it's like I think Rory almost hit a ball into the lake on 11 on his second shot where he was sort of laying up and he was going to pitch up. Those are things that like rumors get started on the course, right? And so you don't know what's true and what's not. And oh my God, my brother loves starting rumors on the course because again, there's a lack of information.
I bet that's easy to do.
Dude, it was awesome. So Sean had somebody going on Sunday morning. He turns, of course, to me and speaks in a louder than normal voice. And he says, "Oh my God, did you hear? Bryson DeChambeau's caddy was walking around on the course before the round looking at the pin placements and you're not allowed to do that. And they caught him. So he had a 2-stroke penalty before he got onto the course." And then all of a sudden you just start hearing it going through and guys, wait, no, that's not a rule, is it? And then it just, shh. And Sean's just sitting there laughing and laughing. Right. We had Justin Rose cut his hand on a wine glass last night. It's under his glove, so you can't see it, but there's a significant amount of tape. And all these things become believable because of the Dustin Johnson thing from a few years ago now, where he ends up getting hurt, and we still don't know what happened there. But anyway, the rumors are horrible, and then you tell people you're joking and whatever, and who knows how far it went. But the scoreboards are so cool because, again, you don't have your phone to look at. And so you hear a roar, and then the only way that you can be like, yes, that's what happened or what did happen is they take 3 holes down on the scoreboard and then they flip them back up with a new score. And so the amount of, Rory doubling at the beginning and Bryson taking the lead and then Bryson taking a step back and all the oohs and ahs and groans are so cool. And for me to be able to experience that with my dad, my brother, and my son,
that's awesome,
3 generations, it's such a special time to be there. And the course was absolutely immaculate. The azaleas were great. The bird noises, still not sure if they're real or they're being chirped in, but it was a special couple of days for us. And Sunday certainly was one of the best finishes we've ever seen.
Where'd you post up most of the day Sunday?
So we posted up on 16 for most of the day Sunday. I was a little disappointed. They decided, so usually that's the time where they put it down, back left.
I know exactly what you're going to be mad about.
It. Yeah, and so Jack Nicklaus 50 years ago hit this amazing putt. And they honored him and put the pin in that same position, which, didn't give us as many fireworks as we were hoping for, but still led to some great shots. And then, for us, 16 ends, the leaders go through 16, and it's a race to get up to the TVs where we can watch the rest of the Masters, and that playoff hole, being in a bar at the backside of the Masters in your place, Berkman's, and just the energy in that building with everybody so invested. That was the second best thing that happened to me. The first best thing over my shoulder here.
Oh my gosh.
I did it.
Got one?
I got the gnome. I got him. This was the gnome for this year. He's got that peach ice cream sandwich in his hand. He's got some peach ice cream sandwiches on his shirt. You know what? He looks like you a little bit.
I was to say, we kind of, my waistline's a little better, but
yeah, you're definitely more trim than that. But yeah, another Masters in the book. Unbelievable. So much fun. Missed you there this year, but got to see a bunch of the dudes, every year now running into Peyton Manning.
Did you saw
jacket on? 18. I did. Shaking hands, kissing babies.
That's what he does.
He's always working around. And then the chairs, just epic. Waking up at, going to bed at 2, waking up at 6:15, getting to the course, getting let in at 7. Just the chaos that ensues after that. So much fun every year. So it lived up to the billing. But this is what I want to get into. Such a classic boys weekend. You said you've been having a few.
Well, we FaceTimed the other night. I don't think either one of us heard anything that the other one said, but we had a good time just catching up on the weekend. We just screamed at each other on the phone for a second.
We both have a lot of experience with this. And I just kind of wanted to help out all the listeners, and maybe even if we could have some of the females, the wives, the girlfriends, if you don't like this list or you think there's a few things that we left out, we're going to be happy to hear from you too. But these are the do's and don'ts. I made a little list here to help us out. If you're going on a boys' weekend, here are the do's, the things that you can do. Number 1, and this is a key to my marriage: under promise and over deliver. So, for example,
Amen.
hey, we're busy. I might not be able to call today. So then when you do text or call, it's a bonus.
That is.
And it allows
set expectations. I like it.
There you go. But with a simple little text like, hey, thinking of you guys, that goes a long way. If you're going to make a phone call, set boundaries early. For me, it's, hey, Liz, I've got to go in about 10 minutes. I'm heading out, but would love to talk to you. Then you keep the conversation brief and you keep it respectful. Yeah, because look, when you're talking to your significant other and you're doing something epic and she is at home, not doing something quite so epic, you got to ask questions about what she's doing and you got to listen.
I didn't set boundaries yesterday morning, Fitz. I messed this one up. I should have. Melissa called and I said, we're about to play, but I didn't say like we're literally on the tee box. So then she just goes into a full, the kids had basketball, the kids had that. And then I had to go, babe, no, I really have to go because we're teeing off. She goes, you didn't say anything about that.
Right.
I'm like,
so there you go.
Oh my God. Oh, okay. Whoops. I messed up.
You go from strike 1, strike 2 to strike 3 right away.
My fault.
Right? So get the parameters out there, ask the questions, listen. Because the other thing is once you set that window, the more questions you ask, the more she talks, the less chance of you screwing it up because you're not going to have a window to say as much. And I would just say the other thing, and one more do, it's very important, downplay your weekend at all costs.
Oh my God, yes.
Anytime you're going to talk about the epicness of everything, just shift the conversation a little bit. You can give an update if you have to, but you got to keep it very short.
Yep, we played golf.
You got to describe it. Yeah, I mean, it's like you're having a root canal. Like it's got to be a little painful if you have to go into any detail. Okay, I think some of those are self-explanatory. We've certainly made those mistakes, but here are the don'ts. And here are the things that I've learned over the years. I've been married for almost 19 years now, Whit. And some of these I learned in year 1. Some of them I learned on Saturday and Sunday. But you know what? We're going to keep learning.
Yep.
Here are the don'ts when you're having an epic boys weekend. I know you know some of these as well, but you never want to complain that the surf and turf was overcooked. You don't want to whine about having sushi 2 nights in a row. You never want to mention that the hospitality tent ran out of those big ice cubes when you were having your 4th Clase Azul.
I'm loving this.
You don't ever want to critique the fact that there was too strong of a lavender scent on your sheets or that you had too many pillows in your bed. and most importantly, Whit. And this one I've learned the hard way, and I don't know why I can't keep my mouth shut. Never, and I mean never, brag about how well you've performed all weekend on no sleep, because inevitably that's going to instantly trigger the follow-up of, that's funny that you can do all these things and have so much energy when you're with your guy friends, but when we're on family vacation and we were out at Disney, you were asleep by 8 p.m. every night.
Oh,
that's
my
where
gosh.
the resentment
These
comes.
are so good.
Don't ever brag about how much energy and how little sleep you got. And then the last thing, Whit, and I know I want you to help me out with this because I know you're with me on this. Your first 24 hours back, they're so crucial to avoiding resentment. Because I don't care how tired you are, you can't show it. You have to push through and you got to show up.
No naps, no yawning. Absolutely. You can't look tired in any way possible. We learned this our first year on Thursday Night Football when you get them on those Fridays and they're just waiting for you to act tired. And it's like, hey, where do I need to go? Who do I need to, where do we need to take this person? Like what kid needs to get where? You cannot act tired at all cost.
Visine, eye drops. You're doing every carpool that night. You're thrilled to eat the leftovers. You're the one reading the bedtime stories. Oscar-worthy enthusiasm.
And I'll tell you a big one, Fitz, on this one. When that first 24 hours home.
Yeah.
You absolutely do not fall asleep before she does. You get to bed, talk about your week, talk about whatever. You make sure she's snoring before you roll over and try to go to sleep because you've got to be second to go to sleep. You got to be that excited to see her.
First 24 hours is crucial. And this one, by God, for the love of everything that is holy, do not, I repeat, do not comment on the state of the house.
Please don't tell me you did this.
What? This is the problem. I have maybe once or twice a bunch of dishes in the sink. Maybe it's a little messy. But this time, it's not even that it was a comment. It was a look. There were shoes everywhere. Maybe the floor hadn't been swept. There were some noodles from the night before. It's not even that you can't comment. You can't give a look like, man, this place doesn't look as nice as when I left.
Wow, you guys look like y'all kind of left everything as is this weekend.
Don't do it. I beg of you.
If you do it, though, Fitz, let's just be honest. If you make some of these mistakes, gifts, jewelry, flowers, they go a long way, guys. So, do what you can.
Hope we can help you out with the do's and don'ts there. If you're anything like us, you don't want tonight's party getting in the way of tomorrow's plans. And let's face it, Whit, after a night with drinks, we don't bounce back the next day like we used to. But now there's a surefire way to wake up feeling fresh after drinks with friends. It's with pre-alcohol.
ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic Drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's a buildup of this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow.
Spring is here, which means more opportunities to celebrate warmer weather. Before drinks on the patio, that tropical vacation, or your best friend's wedding, don't forget your ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol. Have one before drinking and wake up feeling great the next day.
Go to zbiotics.com/FitzandWhit to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use Fitz and Whit at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Just remember to head to zbiotics.com/FitzandWhit. Use the code FitzandWhit at checkout for 15% off.
It's now time to bring in today's special guest and Whit. It's only right that you do the honors introducing our guy to the Fitz and Whit show. Go ahead, make the introduction there, Andrew.
Well, the best part about our guest today is that we actually reached out to him to ask him to come on. He called it the Whit and Fitz show. So let's make sure that we know exactly where his heart is. We all know. It's my pleasure, Fitz. Today's guest is the pride of the Saints of Oklahoma Christian, where he won 4 straight state titles, only won 3, so I guess he's better than me. He's the pride of the Sooners of Oklahoma University, where he was the National College Player of the Year, as a sophomore. This man was the number 1 overall pick of the 2009 NBA draft. He is the veteran of 14 NBA seasons. He was an NBA All-Star 6 times. He was All-NBA 5 times. He's the pride of the Clippers, where he was NBA Rookie of the Year, Slam Dunk champ, and the most dominant power forward in the game.
No doubt.
He's the pride of the Pistons, the Nets, and the Celtics. Today, this man is the pride of Fitz and Whit, possibly Whit and Fitz. Let's give a warm welcome to my dude, Blake Griffin.
Hey.
Wow. Hey, he's here, baby. Blakey, we got you here, bud. I'm happy.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Were you reading that? Because I didn't realize you could read that quickly.
Wow.
Here we go. This is how you want to start this shit, huh? All right, let's get this going.
Things written, and I had to get them off my chest early.
Okay. Yeah, make sure your jokes are where you can see them on the screen, all right?
Wait, for real, though, you do stand-up. Is that right, Blake?
He does.
I do
Are you still doing the stand-up, or is...
I haven't in a while, but I just wrote like about 10 new minutes, so I might start working on it soon. Just good to have in the back pocket whenever you join a Larkers pod.
Fitz has got some stand-up coming up in May.
I do. I'm going to Dublin. It's not necessarily just like a, stand-up comic show, but there are a couple theaters that are going to be doing some stuff in Ireland. I don't know how the humor translates over there, so I'm kind of going in blind, but it's going to be about the NFL too. So
what's your style? Like, are you topical? Are you...
Well, me and you, I think, are very similar in that it's dry a lot of the time. Some observational stuff. I just saw Jim Gaffigan and Jerry Seinfeld, and they both did hour sets, and it was so unbelievable. But it's like Jim Gaffigan, I probably laughed out loud more for him. And Jerry, it was like 3 days later, I was still like thinking about some of the wording and the jokes that he made. But who is your favorite comedian?
Of all time, I love, I started watching like Richard Pryor when I was young. And then as I got older, it was like Chappelle, Bill Burr, now Shane. I love Stavros now, Mulaney. I have a ton that I love, but early on it was definitely like goes to old school, watching Eddie Murphy Raw when I wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, exactly.
with the remote very close so I could change it when my mom walked in. But yeah, I just always loved comedy, loved it, and like that's what I gravitated towards just my whole life.
So we're now teammates because
we are.
Your new gig. We're very excited about this. You're going to be joining Amazon. You're going to be doing the studio show for the NBA. Right now, I think it's been announced Taylor Rooks, Dirk Nowitzki, and there's a few more that have been rumored to be in there, but haven't announced anything yet. So we can't talk about them. What are your feelings right now? How's the excitement level being a TV guy?
First of all, I'm excited to be teammates of you guys. It's a true honor.
Come on, baby.
I'm excited. I'm like a little, I don't know if nervous is the right word, but I'm definitely like, you got to bring it. Like, I'm sure as you guys know, like it's much different than getting interviewed. Like after a game or doing a press conference, it's like you're up there and you got to be sharp. So I look forward to that just because I think it just sort of raises the level of expectation and it kind of keeps you sharp. But like I would watch basketball for free. I would talk about basketball for free. So it's cool to have like a platform to actually do it on. And Taylor Rooks is a true pro, and Dirk is obviously a legend of the game and super funny, super high IQ. So honestly, this is like a dream to just be able to talk basketball with people like that.
Yeah, you might have made it a little further than Fitz and I. I mean, I think, what is this? We were talking about this. This is the anniversary week for you. You announced your retirement this time last year. Mm-hmm. So you waited a little longer than Fitz and I. We went straight from big story about being retired to taking a job immediately. So we lied to our families about staying home and hanging out all the time. So how's it been? Year one retired. What's that been like?
It's been great, man, to be honest. I mean, you guys know, like, just dedicating so much time to one thing. And it's not just professional, it's college. It's everything you did before that. So it was kind of weird. I had this moment where I woke up one morning. I knew I was going to retire. I hadn't announced it yet, but I woke up one morning and I was like, man, I don't feel like working out. And I was just kind of like sitting like thinking to myself, I was like, hey,
that was Fitz every day.
Yeah, that was the last 8 years of my career there, Blake.
So it took a little getting used to, but man, I've enjoyed it, man. Just being around the kids more, getting to be a part of their games and not having to travel as much and sort of making your own schedules. It's been pretty great. I do miss the guys. I miss like the big moments, but it was time.
So your show, Whit and I travel every week during the NFL season. We go to the cities and everything. So there's a studio they're going to set up in LA, I believe. How do you think that's going to be? You're not going to be at the games, but you're going to be sitting there watching. I'm assuming you're yelling at the TV all the time anyway when you're watching these games. Are you still an avid NBA fan? I
am, yeah. It's easier to sort of like take a step back and just sort of watch. I feel like now, especially knowing I'm doing this, I'm trying to like watch a little bit more analytically. I think sometimes as a player, you're just watching and these things are just kind of happening. So now I'm like really trying to keep track of like, they just went 4 possessions without a great shot. They did, just sort of like clocking these things. And then I'm also paying attention more to like halftime pregame shows. Like I watched when I knew I was going to kind of do this, I watched you guys a lot more, and made sure I was like sort of like somewhat taking notes. Like I'm not sitting there like writing stuff down, but definitely like,
if you have any critiques or criticisms, let us hear them.
No, Fitz, he's not lying. That was my favorite. Every week I would get like a text from Blake. And I was like, man, is he bullshitting me and setting like a schedule on his phone that every Thursday night he's like just shooting me a text, like making me think he's actually watching? Or is this dude really watching? Because he'd be like, hey, a great show tonight, or you guys were funny tonight. And I'm like, damn, I think this guy's actually watching us.
I'll tell you what, one of the things for us is the chemistry and like actually enjoying spending time with each other. What is your relationship with Dirk? How well do you know him?
Obviously I've known him for a while, but over the past like 6 months or so, Taylor Rooks and I and Dirk have a group chat. So we just like, every night, like if something's going on, we'll just start firing off texts. And it's gotten to the point where we know each other's humor. We know where to like get a joke in, what line to push. Maybe it's more so me. I'm just always.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think that sounds like your rules.
Just trying to find that line of like, okay, we didn't like that. Oh, I'll pull that one back next time. But they're great, man. Dirk's got a great sense of humor. Taylor Rooks is great, as you guys know. So it is like, it's part of like that building the chemistry, which, you guys have, but that's kind of like the exciting thing for me is like sort of figuring that out. And like the first show won't be like the 5th show or like the show at the end of the year, which that's what's so cool about Amazon is like, I think they did such a good job and they have sort of that experience building you guys' show, I think they're like very like, just they're secure in like what it's going to be and how to go about this process.
When you refer to our show, can you say Emmy nominated pregame show, please?
Oh boy! Not to mention Emmy nominated Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Wow! Congratulations!
Yeah, big time. He does know how to toe the line. Fitz, last year, Ryan's going to play Blake for the first time in 8 a.m. golf this year, so he's really excited about this. But last year, on his way to winning the tournament, Blake may have pushed the line with a little bit of a CTE joke while I was standing on the tee box about to hit my ball.
We need to get into this. I think.
And about 3 minutes later, he comes back in his golf cart and he's like, hey, man, can I have a hug? I just want to apologize for a second because that joke might have been too far. It was great. That was a good one, though. I have to give you some credit. That was a really good one.
But why every time I'm playing a big tournament or like a fun thing and I get invited, I go to the website and look at what happened last year at the event. And you are always how many golf tournaments you play in every year?
Always on the pictures.
Every single one. He's the first picture, the first video. Like, what is your circuit like? How many events are you playing in a year?
I honestly haven't played that. So I did AAM for the first time. That was my first tournament ever in front of people. I did Tahoe.
You did Tahoe.
Well, you did American Century, not Tahoe. You did American Century.
You got to call it the American Century Championship.
Just in case Jonathan Thomas is listening.
Did American Century. And then I did this LPGA Hilton one in Orlando, and that was awesome too. I think I'm going to have to like take a step back from some of these. It's just so demoralizing to just go get beat down, get made fun of every tournament. So, the AAM one's great. You're going to have a great time. Are you guys playing together?
We are.
Yeah.
Wow.
Watch out.
Yeah, we're competition.
Wow. You just swap out quarterbacks, huh?
That's what it is. Listen,
are you serious, Whit?
Ouch. Stafford played last year.
Blake, how'd you guys meet, you and Whit?
Oh, boy. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. That's intimate.
You know what's funny is me and Whit met in the pre-op room.
Oh, boy.
We were both getting surgeries here at Curlin Job. Dr. Elitrosh, shout out Neil Elitrosh. I'm walking in. No one's happy going into surgery. I'm walking in. And I see they have brought this bed extender out. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's great. They're putting it on my took it right over to Whit's bed. I look over and see this 6'9" massive human laying there, and I was just like, oh.
With no drawers on. Man, that was a bad moment. Gosh.
Yeah, had a beautiful gown. And from there it was just like we're best friends.
Yeah. We got the real locker room experience, just the first hello, Ryan. He, here's the thing, Fitz. I hadn't had surgery in my career, like my whole career. This is the very end of my career. I have an ankle surgery.
Absurd. That is
it
absurd,
is crazy as an NFL offensive lineman. But Melissa and I decided, let's do like a little date night the night before the surgery. Go have some dinner together. We'll go stay at the Ritz-Carlton, Marina Del Rey, right by the surgical center. So in my mind, I thought, all right, cool. We'll go to dinner. Then I'll just bring something easy to throw on to go have surgery. Cause I thought they just fully robed you up for surgery. So I just brought a pair of basketball shorts and a t-shirt and some flip-flops, no draws. I get to the surgical center and the lady's like, hey, just throw this shirt on and leave your underwear on because there's no pants or anything allowed. And I'm like, well, I didn't. She's like, well, you can't wear short. You can't wear those. So I was like, all right. So I literally have to rock this gown and I'm sitting in this thing. They have to shave my leg and I'm so tall. It's not long enough. So I'm trying to pull it to where I can at least cover myself a little bit.
I'm sure it was long enough. I'm sure it was plenty.
No. This is belly button long enough. Okay. There's nothing covered, Fitz. This is elevator button. And anyways, I literally, and Blake walks in the room and I'm like, how you doing, man? First time to meet. Hey, dude, how you doing? Super awkward. This young lady's shaving my leg. I'm like, this is the most awkward day of my life. I just met Blake Griffin. I don't have drawers on, and I'm about to have surgery. I don't know what's happening, but it was a bad moment.
The anesthesia must have been kicking in because he brought me in for a real hug and didn't let me go.
I don't remember that.
He's a big hugger, though.
Struggling to get away, and he just held on tight. It was weird, but
it was weird. But we saw each other for dinner about 2 months later, and I'll never forget being like, do I say hey to him, or is it too awkward that the last time we saw each other? It was a very weird situation.
He just kept looking down. Right under your belly button. Yeah, right.
I recognize that guy. He has belly button. I've seen that before.
2 of them. Anyways,
now that we have you here, I don't have a lot of basketball friends. And so I've always been curious. So the NFL is so strict with when we go on the road, it is, everything's scheduled for you. There's a curfew, there's your meals, there's your meetings. You wake up the next day, everything's still scheduled for you. You're on a bus, usually a 1 p.m. game. You're for me, not Whit. You're at the stadium. You guys, we travel 8 or 9 times a year. You're traveling 41 times a year. Are there restrictions on you? Do you have a security guard that's checking in and during curfew every night?
No, never.
Oh, so it's different.
Never.
Sounds different. Sounds a little different than our experience.
So they treat you like adults.
Yeah, we get treated like adults. No roommates, no security, no bed checks. It's basically as long as you show up and you perform and you do what you're supposed to do, they don't really care that much. I will say now, I guess, opposed to the stories that I've heard from back in the day, guys are pretty, it's business. But there are you're on a road trip for 6 games and you're in your 6th city and you're staying over that night after the game. Guys are going to go out. Guys are going to blow off some steam after a game. But yeah, it's not no bed checks.
When I first got to Cincinnati, if you wanted your own room, you had to be I think it was 6 years or 7 years, in the league, and you had to pay for half of the room. So you had to split the bill with the team if you wanted to not have a roommate. On the road.
What did you do?
Nothing like staying, not only, I'm a 6'8", 340, 50-pound guy at that time. Nothing like having another 6'7", 350, your roommates. I mean, you know how small those hotel rooms get?
Yeah.
When just 2 big buffaloes are hanging out in there?
I do want you to answer the question, Whit, though, because Blake knows more L.A. Whit. Back then, did you buy your roommate out and have your own room or no?
No, I didn't. I just that was old school Louisiana Whit there. Yeah, I was cheap.
2 different lives, this guy.
Yeah, 2 different lives, baby. Come on, you know that.
I'm sure that room smelled great.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
So what about we got the draft coming up for the NFL. So what about the green room stuff? You obviously didn't have to wait very long, but was your suit How was your suit? Was it like the big baggy suit, or were we over that era? And
We were over
how was
that
that
era.
experience? Okay,
I did
I'd
make a critical mistake. I had a black suit, which was totally fine, and like a whitish shirt. And I for some reason, the person was like, "Oh, you know what? Purple would look really good with this." He drafted the Clippers, obviously the Lakers, purple and gold, like purple tie, black suit, and just like a red and blue Clippers cap up there. Just like, yeah. So I got a lot of shit for that. But no, I didn't have one of the baggy suits. We were like past that era at that point. I was actually like my rookie year, I would like come in the locker room and I would just have like jeans that like fit. They weren't like super baggy, and guys would be like, "Oh, okay, BG come in here with that European cut." It was like not baggy at all. I actually have a picture of Marcus Camby used to have these like custom jeans, and I have a picture of them in his locker. Each leg is like a 1.5 feet wide.
Oh my God.
A little baggy then, but there was mostly like the older guys, and then the younger guys sort of brought in that new style, that Euro style.
Whit was a Jinko guy back in the day.
Yeah. I wore the big jeans back in the day. Little Sean John.
Echo Unlimited FUBU.
Oh, come on, baby. I had the full sweatsuits, with the hoodie and the zip up.
I know you had LRG stuff. Did you have LRG?
Come on, man. I had it all. I actually have a great picture of me at a Chris Brown concert with a black t-shirt that had nothing but $100 bills printed all over it. I was literally Bubba Sparks Jr. It was great.
Blake, I'm telling you, if you knew this guy 15 years ago, like there's no chance they'd ever let him step foot on a country club. Like,
buddy. That was rough.
It's been a real glow up since he got to LA. Let's just put it that way.
I was just a big ass Paul Wall. You know what I mean? That was my life.
By the way, Paul Wall's had a great glow up too. I don't know if you've seen him lately.
No.
Still has the grill on, but yeah, you should pull a picture up soon.
I don't even think I know who Paul Wall is, guys. Sorry.
Let's not get into it.
Yeah.
All right, Blake, as we get into this, we talked about green room, you being a rookie, being a draft pick, you go through your career. Now here we are. You're going to be the rookie in this situation. What do you think when you sit here and say, all right, this coverage that we're going to do on Amazon, we're going to try to separate ourselves in a way. Do you feel pressure to be like other people that have been out there? Or do you feel like you're trying to find, what it is that is unique to who you guys are or how y'all are going to do it?
Yeah, I think definitely unique. Like the Charles and Shaq, those guys are like, that's maybe the greatest sports show on TV.
Man.
And
unbelievable.
It's been 30 years or however long it's been.
Yeah, they also got nominated for an Emmy this year.
Yeah, I feel like they get Emmy.
We're in trouble.
So definitely not like that's not going to be us. But I do think like, moving into like the streaming world of sports, it's like there's a unique opportunity and such an age of like technology. There's a unique opportunity to like give fans insight or show them things or incorporate technology statistics in a way that really hasn't been done, at least in basketball, that well. So, sort of I think there's a disconnect between the average NBA fan and the NBA right now. Everybody's seen the headlines about ratings being down. And I think part of that too is like, our show should be highlighting every team. It shouldn't just be like the top 6 teams that we always hear about, right? Like the Cleveland Cavaliers had an unbelievable year this year. You probably heard about them one every like 4 shows that guys did. So that needs to sort of change. And I think also just celebrating how absolutely hard it is to play professional sports, and what these guys are going through, and giving guys a little bit of credit, giving a little bit more insight into, a guy has a bad game. All right, let's talk about why he had a bad game. Was it complete lackadaisical? Was he not trying? Okay, great. Then you can sort of be a little bit harder on guys, but maybe they had a really good defensive game plan that day. Maybe something else happened. So just getting like insight that way, I think is maybe connects NBA fans to the league a little bit better than just having an absolute roast.
When Blake and I were together in Vegas and we did a little thing for Amazon and with Dale Jr. as well, it was great, like super insightful. And I know like from the moment of just meeting you there, I know that you're going to be great at this because it's having the humility, like to know how difficult it is and not to just trash guys like you're saying, but also to be able to explain it in a way that the normal viewer would understand. And then the deep insights of like pulling back the curtain, I think in our role is so important. And I could not stop laughing the story, maybe you could fill Whit in on the story that you told when you were talking about analytics in the game and you were watching some Steph Curry tape and you realized there was something with Steph that maybe you guys could take advantage of because he wasn't as good in a particular situation.
Yeah. What's crazy about Steph, man, is like analytically, right? Analytically.
Oh boy, here we go.
Analytically, he is so much better at shooting off the dribble and when he's guarded than when he's wide open, which is like kind of mind blowing, right? Like that doesn't really make sense. You think if you have more time, you take your time, shoot a shot. So, I mean, in my mind, I'm like sitting there, we're playing them in the playoffs. I'm like looking at all these stats. I'm like, guys, what if we just don't guard him? Like, come on. The facts are right here.
Just let him shoot.
And then he absolutely cooked us that series.
Those damn analytics.
But like stuff like that is, I think it's fascinating to people. I don't think people like know that Steph Curry, at least this particular season, it was like a pretty glaring difference for the world's best shooter, the best shooter of all time. So being able to like bring up stats like that and not just like, again, just trash guys. I always tell Whit, like when we were playing golf or something, we were playing with a buddy of ours who also played in the NFL, Ryan Khalil, and they start talking about coverage and this and that and that. It's fascinating to me. And I don't know the language that you guys are speaking. So like just doing that, staying close to the game. And that's another thing that I've tried to do as well is like, you know, go meet with this coach or meet with this GM. And I've sort of started doing that now because you know how quickly it happens where like if you don't keep up with the new trends, like there's a new trend in sports every year or multiple new trends. So making sure that I'm like up to date on that too, I think is important as well.
Yeah, I think it's cool when you talk about doing this stuff and you use that word celebrating. I know Fitz and I, we've always said that like people will travel and people are like, man, you know, y'all do a great job or it's fun watching you guys. And, you know, what's really your mindset? And I always say that it's like, man, just celebrating like how insanely hard it is to play this game, how much fun there is and how life-changing it is for people. While at the same time giving the viewer some, you know, a way to kind of take something from the game and understand either what happened in this game or why it happened. I think that's the coolest part of what we get to do is be immersed still in something that changed all of our lives. Like to me, it's like, man, it's just as cool to do it as to be there at the game watching it. It's like, man, it's still to be a part of something that's so much bigger than you is really neat. And then I get to do it with this knucklehead over here in his master hat. So that makes it even better.
I have a question for you guys, actually. What would you have done differently, or what's something you didn't realize was going to be hard or challenging when you first started?
I'm going to answer for Fitz real quick. Here's one tip advice I would give you. You're such an asshole,
Whit. You're such an asshole.
When you go to the Amazon seminar your first year, okay, and they ask you about your job, when the first thing you reply back is like, man, I didn't know when I took this job we were going to travel so much. It's like every week. I was like, oh my God.
So Blake, I put it a different way. What I said was the difference with this job as a player and an analyst is I had 8 home games as a player and I have 16 road games as an analyst. And these guys have been making fun of me ever since.
Right. Yeah. That's and we're like, are you trying to tell them you don't want to do the job or what's happening right now?
Yeah, you are. I would just say this.
Travel every week.
You already have part of the gift in general in that like you can't take yourself too serious. And I think that sometimes people get into this job and you may know some of the people I'm talking about, or you may not, but like you have this self-importance about you because people are constantly asking you for your opinion, and you tend to overinflate your self-worth. And I see it like ruin guys in a way. I don't think that's going to happen to you, but I do think one thing I always try to do a better job of, it's fun to pull back the curtain, but doing it in a way that like my mom, who was a huge football fan, a way that she would understand it when I was talking about it. And there's layers and levels to everything, but making sure you're keeping in mind like who your core audience is as well, and speaking to everybody, not just that specific group of people.
Yeah, I think for me it was really having ended my career on a high note and played for a long time. It was like I really was genuinely excited to just be up there. And if I looked back at it, I think one thing I would have done a little different maybe in the first years, just trusted that I love the game and I'm so appreciative to be here. And it's like, it's okay to speak up and like say things that you care about and you want to be different. Because I think as you get into it, I think year 3, Fitz, we both say there's more times where we're like, I don't care if somebody's mad at me now. Like, I'm just going to say something that means to me, like to me, how I wish guys played it or how I wish somebody handled something. Like, I don't care as much now about like, man, everyone has to like me and everyone has to approve of everything I say. I'm just going to say things that mean something to me, because I think in my mind, it's the way I wish it was done, and I can be wrong. But I'd rather be have an opinion, and I'd rather say what's on my heart about something than worry about whether everybody's going to like me when I'm done sharing whatever it is.
Yeah, I always felt like even as a player, like when I heard something that was like genuine and a fair criticism, like it was easy to be like, yeah, I don't really have any rebuttals for that. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Like I think they're a dick for saying it, but it was a good pick. It was a good take.
But it's also, I think and ours is a little different than yours in that, like, well, I guess it'll be similar because you're going to be watching the games live and then just like being pre-half and post. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So pointing things out that you're thinking, if you're thinking it, I'm sure Twitter already has it on there and like other people are thinking it too. And this last year, a good example and something I would have been afraid to do in year 1 is we had a graphic and we're talking about Trent Williams, and they showed a video of Trent Williams on the side. Well, it wasn't Trent Williams. It was just another large offensive tackle that wasn't playing. And so in order to like not even diffuse the situation, but you can't just gloss over something like that, because every viewer that's watching that knows who Trent Williams is whispering to the person next to them, like, that wasn't Trent Williams. And so having the fear in year 1 of like, I don't want to step on any toes, to then in year 3 being like, everybody else saw this, like, point it out. It's on your mind. It's funny. Like, let's live in the moment and enjoy it and have a laugh about it. Yep. And then guess what? Let's move on, because nobody's going to care about this next week.
Right.
That was a big learning thing for me as well.
Well, and sometimes Fitz and I'll have a little fun when we're traveling. We get a little too bored and we'll throw out some names that we decide, hey, in the broadcast, you've got to work this name in. What was it? Webster
Slaughter? Who was last?
Webster Slaughter, baby. So we came up with some old historic players who were like, all right, let's see who can get one in. We were in Cleveland. And so I broke out the Webster Slaughter. We're not going back to the Webster Slaughter days tonight when he was dominating at wide receiver. They got what they've got in this game. It's like, and we're of course just kicking each other under the table. But, as I pulled it off on the flight over, we discussed it. So, you got to have those moments. But I got to ask you, Blake, you got to be honest with me now. I know you're I've seen your golf game. I know how much you grind on the golf course. Have you been practicing a little bit in front of the mirror, or do you like are you been giving some takes? Like, come on, to be honest with me.
I promise I haven't practiced in front of the mirror yet. But I have been
videoing a couple takes and just see what it looks like.
Yeah. Well, I'm using technology now, dude. We don't use mirrors.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Hours of footage of me hosting a fake studio show. But I definitely have again, when I watch you guys or I watch the TNT guys, I definitely am thinking in such a different way where I'm trying to picture myself do it, or I might hear something. I'm like, ooh, I got to remember that. That's a nice little zinger right there. Or I'll think of some stupid joke. And I'm like, that sounds like something, it's that could work in that setting. Right. I don't know. It's,
yeah. Ryan and I are different on that. I watch everything. I don't think Fitz watches a whole lot of other stuff, but I love to digest everything possible, just because to me, I just want to hear everybody's thoughts. And then it kind of gives me a where I sit in the realm of where everybody else and what I think. I like to kind of do that. And then also it kind of helps me I feel like that came off this way and I didn't like it, or I feel like it could have been said in a different way if I disagree or agree. But I love to kind of digest everything out there, whereas I think Ryan doesn't.
Whit is an information whore. Even up to the time where we go on air, he's reading, he's digesting, he knows everything about everyone. It's amazing. And it is funny because I'm almost the exact opposite, where I want to watch games and I want to put on my goggles and how do I see this exactly and what do I think, and almost not let any of that other stuff poison my opinion as somebody. So we certainly work differently in that way, but you're going to see, man. And even I know watching our show, you could see Whit Whit is so impressive, and like even just the growth year 1, year 2, year 3, and how comfortable you feel in front of a microphone. And you were already a stand-up comedian, so I think you're going to be just fine. I do have a question for you. I was with Rip Hamilton last night.
Oh boy.
And my dumbass, I was like, "Oh, did you and Blake play together on the Pistons?" He was like, "No, I think his last year was 2011. Your first year was 2018." But since
it was
like,
close.
Blake, did you play with Joe Dumars or no? Yeah. But I was like, "Do you have any Blake stories?" And so he's like, "Well, we didn't play together, but he did say he wanted me to ask you why you didn't keep number 32 on your jersey when you went to the Pistons."
Dude, I get to the Pistons and like the number I wore in college was taken, number I wore at high school was taken. And I'm like, "Oh, what about 32? And they're like, "Nope, Rip Hamilton." And I was like, honestly, you just get, because like when they won that championship in 2004, like that was like my prime, like high school. Like I was like so in love with basketball, and like going to a team and then seeing like Joe Dumars, Rip Hamilton, seeing all those numbers up in the practice facility, and then hearing all the stories about those guys like from the past was like, it was kind of something that I didn't have previously. Like the Clippers, unfortunately don't have that sort of like that. Obviously they don't have like championships, but they didn't have like that culture of like the past players. Like it was never like a celebrated thing. And it's not like on the players that played, is just sort of a bad environment for a while, the previous owner. But yeah, it was sucks, man. Like that's the real 32 in the Pistons.
The real 32. You better believe
baby.
it. He was wearing his 04 championship ring, and he was telling me that was really one of the first rings in the NBA, because they were looking at the NFL rings and they started getting bigger and bigger, and now they're just like enormous. Well, I'm sure Whit's wearing his right now. He could show us.
Oh my God.
But Rip said that was one of the first in the NBA that actually had some size to it. Because they were getting jealous of the NFL guys.
Yeah.
Wait, do you have yours on you, or?
I don't have my ring on me.
It's in the safe, right? But where are you in the Cabo house?
I'm in Cabo.
Hey, what happens when you guys play golf together? You beat him, Blake?
Come on.
Come on.
I'm listening.
You know what? I usually don't keep score. I just go out there and try to.
Okay. That's my kind of golfer. Yeah.
The golf course. We're just there to enjoy our company and in the golf course.
And like Whit does this thing where he just like hits it down the middle, and he walks down the middle of the fairway, hits it again, and he goes to the green. No. It's like, don't you want to see the course? So like I always play differently, where I'll hit it left and then I'll hit it back right, and then I'll go past the green, back past the green again, just because like,
it's about the experience.
We're blessed to be out there. I want to get all my money's worth, when I'm playing.
Yeah, and get your steps in too.
Definitely get your steps in.
Can we get some serious questions? Can you put your analyst hat on real fast so we can talk about the NBA a little bit? I actually have, this one is only for me, for nobody listening, just me, but the Suns. What happened to my Suns this year?
Oh man, just a poorly put together team. Like look at the Phoenix Suns over the past, after the Steve Nash era, right, where they had a lot of success. Their best years, they had Chris Paul, a really good facilitating point guard who gets everybody into spaces. And you look at like some of these great players. I mean, they have great players on their team, a lot of talent, but that talent with no like direction. It looks like a team that was like put together, like it was like an AAU team that was just sort of put together. I don't think there was much thought in the roster composition and like who complements who. They just were like, hey, we got three really good players, and we'll figure it out. And I saw a quote that Matt Ishbia said 2 years ago or something when they traded for Brad Beal. He was like, you asked 29 other GMs, 26 of them would trade our team for theirs. If you look at that quote, like, shoot, oh boy, whoops, that did not work out well. But it's interesting. I mean, I think they're like they should have been a good team. I think they're just like a couple pieces away. I just don't think that formula of like, okay, we'll just go get three really good guys and we'll just pepper in. Look at the Boston Celtics. They have two absolute superstars and they have 5 really good players around them, and they all buy into defense. I mean, look at the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have like a superstar. They have 6 really good players around them. Like the era of like, hey, let's just go get 3 guys and then we'll just fill it in with like minimum contracts, that doesn't work anymore. You're actually seeing, and now you're also seeing these young teams, the Oklahoma City Thunder, Cleveland Cavaliers, you're seeing Houston Rockets, you're seeing young teams start to take over. So we're in this era of like these guys that were superstars and carried teams to a great record in the regular season. That's not happening anymore. Like they can still go out and produce in the playoffs, but you're seeing this sort of change of guard and the styles changing.
Why do you think that is?
Well, just by natural process of like guys getting older and these young guys coming in. It's kind of weird though, because I think the NBA, we had such big LeBron, Steph, KD, James Harden. We had these such big names that were so polarizing that the NBA sort of just like, as they were younger, they grew into it and they kept being the most marketable guys. And now you have some really, really good young players who didn't really get as much shine early on. Like Jokic, no one knew about Jokic. Shai Gilgeous has had he's been good his whole career, but he's really taken that step every year. And I just don't think, like going back to my point earlier, the Cleveland Cavaliers had a great year. You didn't hear that much about them. If you're a real NBA fan, like a true avid NBA fan, you do know. Average NBA fan probably couldn't have told you that the Cleveland Cavaliers were having a record year. So I don't think it's...
That's me.
So
That's
again, it kind of goes back to like how you market and how you talk about teams and how you educate the average NBA fan is like, you got to know that these young guys they're on their way up and like they're also having success.
When you say that, Blake, we recently got a chance to go play with your boy and a guy I've gotten to come pretty close with over the last year or so, and JJ Redick. When you talk about the Lakers and think about the job he's done, what have you watched from him, watching your buddy going to becoming a head coach now in the NBA?
I mean, dude, when he took that job, I said to so many people, I was like, if anybody can get that team right, it's him. He has the brain for it. He has the work ethic for it. And he is just like, it's just all day, constant, 24/7. He's always thinking about how can he be better? What could work? He studies the past. He knows the present. Like he's putting all this together. He also went out and to his credit, an unbelievable coaching staff to support him, which is also really huge. And he is the type of personality where I think like, guys really respect him. Like he will challenge guys. He's not going to just like, oh, okay, okay, well, we'll do it that way. He's like, no. This is what we're doing. We're doing this. And like guys respond to that, but it does take a certain type of person to do that. And I mean, he's got him in the best position possible.
So I don't care how good you are at something. We all want to be coached. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, guys think they want to be left alone, but the reality is we all want feedback and coaching in some way. And I think you're right. He's one of those guys who's willing to do that. And I know, most of us wanted that, especially at the end of your career. It feels like people leave you alone all the time. It's like, no, I still want to be told, like, I got to do this better. I don't need to do this, blah, 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 blah. Like, I still want to be coached.
So much like the 8 a.m. classic in 2 weeks where Whit and I ham and egg, he asks like really good, insightful questions. And then I just have questions that I'm curious about. So you mentioned JJ and the staff he put together. Why are there so many coaches in the NBA? Like, what do they all do? When you look at the bench, you like have to walk by 9 dudes and slap hands before you actually get to your teammates. Like, are they all, you have one play? Is it like a 1-to-1 ratio?
Well, not necessarily coaches. The 4 coaches up front are head, obviously, and then lead assistant, 2 other assistants. And basketball is sort of taken on, not officially, but it's sort of taken on a model of like, hey, this coach is like, he's sort of like running defense. Like he's more in charge of our defense. Every coaching staff can be different because the head coach could lean more defensively than offensively. So you kind of have that dynamic on the front of the bench. And then behind the bench is like player development guys. It's video coordinator guys. There's one guy with the the laptop. He's checking all the replays. He's checking.
Hey, you can't make that mistake on TV because if it's a Surface and you say iPad or vice versa,
you're in big trouble. You get your
Michaels
hands
has made that. Yeah, you better get that straight.
Get it right.
Very valuable. Thanks for the feedback, guys. So there's like, it looks like they're all coaches because especially now they all dress the exact same. So you don't know who's who.
It's so great.
They all have like a very specific job during the games, and then the job during practice is a little.
Were you a Rice Krispie treat guy at halftime, or what was your snack?
I was not. I was half an orange before the game, half a peanut butter and honey sandwich, and then at halftime the other half of the orange and the other half of the peanut butter and honey sandwich. But
wouldn't you feel like your hands would get sticky and then it'd be weird, like
yeah, Steve, there was like in the locker room we had these. It was like what was it, sink? Yeah, we had a sink.
With the water.
Yeah,
wow, you could wash your hands.
Yeah. So I would
Blake, I don't know if you know this about Fitz. We go on road trips. He rarely showers more than once a week. And he also usually brings one set of underwear for a 3-day trip.
Andrew, don't tell my secrets. Blake, I got
not much
chewed
of
out.
a washing your hands guy.
Either wire conservation.
So I got chewed out. This is months ago. My wife sits me down at the table and she says, "We've got to talk." And I was like, "Well, what do you want to talk about?" And she's like, I just did the laundry and I'm pulling out all the clothes. You had 14 t-shirts and 2 pairs of underwear. Like where is it? What's going on? Like, why are you not? Yeah, it wasn't a good conversation. And I've since tried to get a little bit better about my hygiene, but I don't shower very often. I think showering's overrated.
First step is acknowledging it. And I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Proud of you, Fitz.
Yeah. Thank you. What about, you mentioned, I don't know, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Jokic MVP prediction. Who do you think had the better season? Because now you have to give an NBA an opinion because you're an analyst.
That's right.
I think that Shea is he'll probably win. I think the year that Jokic is having is like unprecedented, but it's always like, you always look at how the team do. And Shea, the Oklahoma City Thunder are the best team in the NBA. He also plays really well defensively. Not to say Jokic doesn't, but he's doing a little bit of everything. And their team is number one, not just in the West. They're number one overall. They have the best record I think they've ever had. So it's probably going to be Shea, but it's a shame because Jokic is doing things that like absolutely deserve MVP. It's just one of those situations where I think if it was flopped, if Denver was number one by far, I think Jokic should get it.
Blake, on that, talking about Jokic and them, what did you think about them making the changes they made? Like at this point in the year, is that wild? Have you ever experienced something like that?
I think it's insane. But by the way, Memphis fired their coach 2 weeks before that. I don't necessarily understand it. Obviously, I'm not in that locker room, but I just think you're just really setting a team up for failure in the playoffs by just introducing change. Whether everyone loves this new coach that came in and everyone hated the previous coach, I'm not saying that was the case, but even if that was the case, it's like you just completely switched around everything right before the playoffs. And you guys know, like going into the playoffs, like you want to be peaking. And I don't know about you guys, but
Whit, don't tell him.
Coach getting fired doesn't really give peaking vibes.
Whit's got something to tell you.
Yeah, I was going to say, Fitz, do you want to explain to him as far as like how you've been affected in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, Blake, I set an NFL record. There's nobody that's played 17 seasons in the NFL and not made the playoffs besides me. So I know how it goes. I'm just going to nod my head.
He doesn't have a lot of like...
Yeah. I actually went to my first playoff game last year with Amazon. Yeah, it was great. Didn't hear the end of that one.
The best is they gave us these little playoff mugs. He's like, I'm definitely taking this home with me.
We all know how it goes,
welcome
guys.
to the NFL playoffs.
When you travel, I have this sitting here. Do you wear a neck pillow? Have you ever done it before?
Oh my God. This is his new thing. He's all about the neck pillow.
I think I did it once on a red eye and it wasn't like a lay flat. And it didn't really work for me. I think it's because my head's so big that it's just like top heavy. So like it just really, it's leaning either way. I don't have one of those like real sturdy supports right here. I mean, you can probably lay it on your beard. Whit's neck is a neck pillow.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't have a neck. So
back when you used to fly commercial. I get it, man. Who comes out of the West and who comes out of the East, do you think?
Honestly, man, the East is, for me, is easy. I think it's Boston. I think Cleveland's had a great year and all that, but Boston is like, they're unbelievable. The West is super interesting. I mean, the Lakers are playing well right now. I think the Clippers might be playing the best basketball going into the playoffs. And they've had some big wins. They have like a lot of momentum. Oklahoma City, it's one of those things where I was about to say, you guys know how it is in the playoffs. Sorry. But you know, like a younger team, I'm sorry. I never won a championship and it's people all over my head all the time. I'm really sorry. I didn't even make that joke. It was low hanging fruit. Oklahoma City, like they just don't have guys that have gotten to that precipice, except for Alex Caruso. And I love their team. I love their coach. So you're kind of just like, I don't know. I think they're good enough, but I don't know. Something, the playoffs just like something goes wrong and you have to stay poised. So
that's what I always say. If they stay hot, they got a chance. But then it's like, oh, when that adversity hits and the youth comes out, and it's like that. It almost always is how it ends.
Yeah, and what's crazy is like you don't see any youth like in the regular season. They are sharp. Like they know exactly who they are. They all play hard. Like they're well coached. It's impressive. I'm like hesitant to pick them out of the West. I think they are the best team, but I do think that.
What is happening right now?
I'm sorry. There's so many hammering on my roof.
This is one of those moments. If this were to happen while you were on air, you must point out that.
Yeah.
Whit, what are you doing? Are
Blake, you want to know my experience? Blake has somebody hammering on his roof, but Blake, my experience is we're in. God, I'm trying to think of what city we're in, but Jim Morris Sr. is basically walking in front of our desk as we're about to go on air, and he falls over a wire. And we're coming out of commercial break, and Sherm and I see it, and Sherm like kicks me under the table, and they're like counting down in our ears, like 5, 4, 3. And Carissa's like, "Hey, Whit, I'm coming straight to you about the halftime." Like, and I'm like, "Wait, hold on, wait, do I get off this desk and go check on coach?" Like he just went down. And she comes straight to me, and Sherm's still kicking me, and I'm trying to keep a straight face. And I'm like, oh, my God, this is it. I'm going to be that guy. Somebody's going to be recording on their phone and be like, Whitworth's such a jerk. This guy's on the ground in an emergency situation, and he's sitting there talking about how much he enjoyed the first half of the game. I was like, man, this was not in my book. Where is it in the handbook? What do you do when we're about to go live and there's somebody on the ground in pain right now? It was not good.
What'd you do?
I just talked, buddy. I just say, hey, man, you know what? I'll go help coach when we get to this next commercial break.
No, he's a tough guy, though. He got up and he kept going. He got up. It's all right. But I was a little nervous at first. Last, serious question from me. So you're talking about Oklahoma City, and that got me to thinking about the commercials that Chet would do with Shea, which I don't know. That was always a weird commercial for me. But you, my friend, and the amount of commercials that you have been in recently, especially like the March Madness stuff, we just saw you over and over and over again. And I really, really enjoyed most of them. Do you have a say in, do you have some creative say in what's going on for those commercials? Or is that something that's thrown at you and you're just, you're reading the script?
No. So actually, over the years, I think I've gotten to have more and more creative input. So back in the day, I would even kind of sit in and help write commercials, my own commercials, just because I only wanted to do what I thought was funny. I'm not going to say comedy because some people are like, those weren't funny. But that's all I wanted to do. So with the AT&T stuff, I've known Joe Mandy, who was on it with me for a while. He's an unbelievable comedy writer. So we kind of I don't want to say rewrote, but they were super great about us, just ad-libbing and improvising day of. So we kind of had the structure of what those things were supposed to be. And then we would just start going. And usually we just kind of find, we had to shoot 15 of them. So we were going quickly. It was only maybe 3 or 4 takes each one, and we'd have to move to the next one. So they turned out great, but he was so good to work with. And he's in the comedy world. So it's that's the type of teammate you want to have in those situations. But the Red Lobster one, it was kind of it was presented, this is what it's supposed to be. And then we kind of by the end of it, it was there was probably only there's some of it in there, but a lot of these companies have been so great about, just kind of letting me do some things, which is a lot of fun for me because that's where I love it. There's nothing better than just being a complete idiot. Somebody being all right, that kind of works. Well, what do you mean that? You're like, ooh, thank God. I wasn't sure this was funny.
That's awesome, dude. I think it's so cool, man. When you watch guys get into all the things, throughout their career, sometimes we just get labeled as basketball players or football players. And then you get to see all your passions come out because you mentioned that having some creative interest in all those things, but you actually you have your own production company as well, right? So you do some of that in your spare time when you're not on the golf course, correct?
Yeah. Ryan Khalil, who you know,
yep.
We started a company in 2016. We both just had a love for the creative side of film and TV, and he had some projects that he was working on. I had some that I was working on, so we joined up. with the idea of like, hey, we're going to like lay the foundation and get the groundwork in, now, and make sure people realize this is like a passion, before we're done playing. It's so much easier to, start doing that while you're playing. And make sure people know it's legit. So, yeah, we did a remake to White Men Can't Jump. We had a Apple TV show called Hello Tomorrow. Since then we're in development on a bunch of stuff. We sold a bunch of stuff. So, it was cool.
Awesome.
I was like, one thing that I'm so glad that I started while I was playing, because it helps that transition to retirement when you're like, whoa, all right, this is done. Now what? So, it's been fun.
That's insane, dude. Well, thank you for coming on. I consider you a really close friend now. I would say my relationship with you is almost stronger than mine with Witz, just because we shared that dinner together in Vegas with your brother Taylor as well. Okay. We're trying to keep tabs on who invited who for all these podcasts and the guests. Would you say that like you're probably more my friend than Witz, just so I can get a tally in the win column? Or
yeah, and it's the Fitz and Whit show.
There we go.
Thank you. See you in Vegas in a few weeks.
All right, bro. Later. All right, Fitz, man, that was great. I was glad we had Blake on today, man. Dude, I love his humor. He's so dry, just like you. Like I really love how he just kind of sneaks shots in. It's not even like he's not trying to offend you. He just sneaks little shots in. Even as we were trying to get on to record, I mean, y'all were already taking shots at me. I love him, man. I just think there's so much more to him than just the basketball player, the dunker that people knew him as. I think that's what's so fascinating to talk to him about.
He is. He's so witty. He's so smart. But then we started talking about basketball and asked him, jokingly to put his analyst hat on, and just the insight, man. He is really, really smart. He loves the game. You can tell he watches a game and truly is still a huge fan. And so Amazon hit a huge home run here, and I know that they loved him for a long time, and everybody that comes into contact with him, he's such a likable guy, great guy to just have around. So I do have to say thank you to you for introducing us, because you said it. You thought we would hit it off, and he's one of those truly special dudes that you just love being in the room with. So hopefully the viewers, when they're watching this studio show on Amazon, they're going to feel the same thing. Because it is his personality just to draw you in, certainly. All right. Well, we can't go without taking a few comments from the Beardos. Yes, the Beardos, Whit, our loyal viewers. You got to keep these comments coming. We've actually continued to read them. We've really loved them. Keep them coming on X, on the Gram, on the Insta, on the YouTube, whatever, wherever. We're going to see them. And look, here's a little incentive. I showed you a little bit earlier, Mr. Gnome here. This is 2025 Masters Gnome. Well,
unbelievable.
I did a little favor to our viewers and listeners. I went ahead and picked up an extra one. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to be giving away a Masters Gnome. Me and you are going to, with a fine-tooth comb, go through these comments and these questions from our fans. And the best one of the week, I'm going to send them one of my gnomes. So sound off.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. And look, we had the Judge Whit segment in like our second or third podcast. You're going to have to help me judge this, because I'm sure we're going to get a lot of them. We're going to get a lot of the good ones. Sound off. Make fun of me. Make fun of Whit. I guess we can make fun of Blake too, but we're really excited to hear what you guys have to say. And with that, let's get in a couple of comments from last week before we wrap things up here. At John Newton-Q3S. Always entertaining, guys. Proud to be a Fitz and Whit Beardo. There it is. It's catching on, Whit. Hashtag Go Bills. Hashtag Bills Mafia worldwide. John from Cambodia.
Wow.
Okay, so it says here he's living in Cambodia, but from Hamburg, which is a suburb of Buffalo. All right, Whit. We're worldwide, baby. Beardos are everywhere.
Wow, the Beardos are everywhere. Well, I got two comments from one viewer, Fitz. Mobbing real deep. I'm not even going to get into that one.
Well, hold on. It's real. It's two E's. So hopefully Mobbin is a deep sea fisherman, but maybe not.
He buttered me up about our coaches draft with this story about Pete Carroll, Fitz. Mobbin Real Deep said Pete Carroll was a semi-regular at the Italian restaurant my family owned outside of Seattle. He's a spaghetti with marinara, no meat sauce or meatballs, and a Diet Coke. Haha. That sounds like my kind of meal, so I'm down with Pete on that. I mean, I'd be kind of like a meatball, but other than that, everything else I'm good with. The key to having a conversation with Pete was to speak to his wife and or daughter first. He would suddenly light up and become exactly the dude you see all the time. 10 out of 10 human being, 11 out of 10 beautiful blue eyes. How
That's
about
not
that?
a shocker.
Hey, come on.
He's a sweetheart, exactly like you thought he would be. I wanted to ask Mobbin Real Deep. I guess there's another comment here if he ever had to pay for a meal, but maybe that's for next time.
I would doubt it. Mobbin Real Deep came back, though. He didn't like my O-line take. He said, don't O-linemen get the same overpay thing all the time? Didn't Green Bay just sign a backup quality guard for almost $20 million per year? Okay, I don't really know that one in the sense of we can't really judge a guy before he has a chance to play for the contract. But yes, there is offensive linemen that get overpaid at times. That is correct. I don't really know the point there outside of that is a true fact.
All right. You're going to feel better about the next one here.
Oh.
This is from @BengalsFandom623.
Okay.
If we could only pick a lineman like Whit every single year on either side of the ball, letting Whit go at age 35 will always be one of the biggest mistakes. He defied age. Does Whit think going to a new team was rejuvenating, or does he think he would have played until age 40 in Cincy if he got a 3-year extension? Don't answer that because it's too painful. I guess you're not allowed to answer that one, Whit. I don't know.
I was playing until 40 no matter what. That was the goal. I'll say it that way.
Okay. And then Coles on Jay Dobson. First time I've ever heard of Breckman's. It's Berkman's, but that's fine. Leave it to Whit. Yeah. Wow. A great hospitality place. And what do you know? Whit hangs out at it.
Well, hey, listen, Fitz, you know how I am, buddy. Okay, I'm high maintenance. Listen, I'll go back, though. You invite me to Berkman's next year, I'll go with you, okay? We got Ram Freak SB 56. Only 91 days till Tahoe. Let's go. First off, it's only 91 days until the American Century Championship in Tahoe. Let's make sure we phrase it correctly.
And only one of us has an invite, but I'll show up and caddy for Whit or play, depending on what happens in the next 91 days. But I'm here. And whatever you guys need from me, American Century, Jonathan Thomas, I'm here, baby.
I love it. And finally, Osuzulu 85 thinks Tate's BBN Adult League beatdown isn't the worst thing. He says, that's great. Tate is going to elevate his game by playing against those guys. See, hey, listen, you can get better in these situations too. Maybe we could get Blake Griffin to play with Tate's team and they'd be a little better.
Oh, my God. I forgot to ask him.
I can't believe you didn't ask him.
Blake? Can you see what his schedule is like the next few Sunday nights just to see if we can get him?
I'll text him and see if we can get him on.
I can give you a quick update on that. Tate had a couple soccer games Sunday, so he wasn't able to play in the basketball game, but it seems like there's one team that is very dominant and the rest of the league is not at that level.
Okay. So they got a chance.
Yeah. So that's where we're at right now. They might potentially win a game at some point. Maybe. I think they've only got like 4 left. So we'll see. But great episode, Whit. Love talking to you. Love catching up. Blake, thank you for introducing him to us, or to me, and to all of our listeners and viewers. What a great dude. Can't wait to see how he does on Amazon's coverage of the NBA. And until next time, Whit and I will just be trying to keep our wives happy at the end of all these boy trips. We will see you guys next week.
Peace.